Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm Staples of the Edmonton Journal. And I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David, how you doing tonight?
Good. It was a beautiful day out there today.
Again.
I got outside for a little bit. Did you?
Sure did. Sure did.
And you know,
Went for my walk. My
nice.
wife and I set up some tables to do some spray basting for her quilt projects outside because it was so nice. Not often you get to do that on October 19th.
Did you just say the sentence spray basting for quilt projects?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce.
My wife is a major quilter, and there's one phase of it that she needs my help. So
What is spray basting?
That's the spray where you actually sort of glue the layers of the quilt together. The front, the back, the sort of the thick part that you don't see in the middle, and then the back of the quilt. So you spray them together so they kind of line up with each other before they get quilted. She does all the quilting. Cool. I just help with the spraying.
So. All right. Sounds like a man's job.
Well, it's a spouse's job to support their partner in their creative arts projects, and that's exactly what this is.
Indeed, Bruce. Indeed. I'm doing the same with my wife. She's Excellent. Going to her hockey team's going to Vegas, and I've agreed to go along with her. So, you know,
boy, that's pain. That's taking one for the team.
All the support I can give her. The other good news is the Oilers are, testing our stoicism. They're giving us one of these little life tests.
Mine tonight, David.
We will see how we measure up, Bruce. I think, we can see from Twitter, at least, or X as they now call it, that not everybody passes that particular test. So we'll see how we do.
I've taken to completely avoiding that platform on game nights.
Oh, me too. I'm
sorry, and I follow many wonderful people, but some of the wonderful people are different during games. I know I am, so I tend not to want to tweet my own stuff unless I see something sort of extraordinary that I just throw out there once in a while. But I did not see anything extraordinary tonight, and I do not blame the Twitterverse if it is ripping the Oilers a new one, because they're fully deserving of such criticism tonight.
Yes, the X-Men and X-Women, as they're now known. They're ripping. They're Xing the Oilers.
X-fans.
Xing and hexing. All right. 4-1 lost to the Philadelphia Flyers. The Oilers are now 1-3 to start the year. This is not the Stanley Cup winning Edmonton Oilers that we were all expecting to see early in the year. This is somewhat disappointing. But let's try to figure out what's going on here a little bit. Bruce, this is our two good things, two bad things, two numbers, and one conundrum podcast. Because it was a stinker of a loss, we'll go with two bad things each. What's your first bad thing?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the with the Oilers leadership group, and I'm going to. I mean, it was a team-wide thing, but there was nobody on the Oilers that was lifting the team tonight. That was going the extra mile. That was seemingly winning a physical battle. Or wanting to engage in one, more is the point. And it's a long list of players, but I'll just start with these ones. Okay, Darnell Nurse, 3 shots, no hits. So we'll talk about that one. He was the best of them, probably. Leon Draisaitl, 2 shots, no hits. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 1 shot on his only attempt, 1 hit. Connor McDavid, no shots, no hits, no takeaways, no positive stats other than an assist that he got. And I just didn't see, for a leadership group, I just didn't see anybody sort of stepping up. And in fact, the team as a whole, in the third period especially, they flat out quit on this game, David, and that upsets me as a fan. I find that hard to accept. You're down by a couple goals and you get outshot 17-4, by a team that couldn't make the playoffs last year, but by a team that worked their ass off tonight and skated circles around the Edmonton Oilers because they were prepared to give the effort that was needed to win a National Hockey League game, and the Edmonton Oilers, Stanley Cup contenders, were not.
Yeah, the only guy flying in the third was Dylan Holloway out there blocking a shot when he doesn't have his helmet on, and he also got a good shot at net. It hit the side of the net. You know, he was flying around there, but and McLeod, I thought he was flying around there. Those two young guys, but yeah, Bruce, I agree with your point, and I would say it's been a little disconcerting this year. This is my first bad thing. How slow the Oilers have looked. They've looked slow against Vancouver, and they looked slow tonight. They look like the other two teams who aren't world beaters, not expected to be at least this year, are not. You know, they both looked faster than the Oilers, and I don't know if that's just a matter of execution and effort, or if it's a matter of some of the player choices that have been made on the Oilers. I mean, tonight, for instance, they went with Vinny Desharnais over Philip Broberg, who's a far superior, faster skater. They went with Adam Erne in terms of signing someone, and he's not a fast skater. Connor Brown still hasn't found his skating legs, but I mean, who looks fast out there? Holloway and McLeod look fast tonight. I mean, McDavid is Connor McDavid. Janmark has his moments. But tonight, this just looked like a slow team.
Yes.
Just beat to the puck, beat on the rush.
Yeah. How many breakaways? How many odd man rushes?
Yeah, this could be an issue, Bruce, for this team. It's you know, I'll have to think a little harder about it, but they might not have the right combination of speed mixed with all the other things you need to win on this team right now. And it might just be necessary to move up to play, feature more some of the fast players like McLeod, Holloway. They've already done with Fogle, who's a fairly fast player, and he had some decent moments, also a few iffy ones. Maybe they just have got to feature some of the faster guys a bit more, and that's the answer. But right now they're looking slow, and slow means you lose in the NHL. Yeah. What's your second bad thing, Bruce?
Yeah, well,
should I go first here?
Yeah, you go first, because I'm worried I might be about to take yours, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, because we're going to just talk about two of the goals against, two of the four goals against. And mine's first in order in the game. The first goal against, actually, there's not much to say other than Philly made an aggressive pick play. And it's the kind of thing that happens when you're fast and aggressive. You get away with that kind of stuff, and it led to a goal. But it's the second goal against, which was like, I call it a tragedy of errors. It was, just one big brain freeze from the entire team. It starts, as will happen in hockey, two Oilers players collided. Well, they happen to be super solid, physically solid Evander Kane and Connor McDavid. And McDavid, this happened in the ozone. McDavid got up limping to the bench. And as you have been saying since then, it looked like everyone else just kind of momentarily lost their heads. Draisaitl has the puck in the neutral zone, and instead of a nice crisp pass over to Bouchard, he puts it over off the boards. Bouchard still could easily make a play, but his brain goes to sleep, seems to, go to sleep as well. And he fumbles the puck, loses the puck to a Philadelphia player who breaks in. And now there's another player breaking down the middle, and Ekholm looks like he's fallen asleep because, watching McDavid go off the ice maybe. And the Philadelphia attacker gets in behind him. It's just a split second, right? It doesn't take long in the NHL. It happens so fast. And I think that's as good an explanation as anything for a really key moment in the game. It's 1-0 at that point. And now it's 2-0. And it's just because this weird thing happens on the ice and you lose your concentration. Watching your star player go off the ice for a second and bam, you're out of it.
Well, I'd rather lose the concentration, lose that goal, and lose that game than lose that star player. And McDavid was able to come back and rejoin the game right after a sort of tense wait during a TV timeout, as experienced in my house. And he had a good shift right away to sort of quell my concern about whether he was hurt, but he disappeared from this game after that. And I do have concerns about whether he maybe got dinged up a bit, as if, and that the team certainly lost its focus down the stretch. But that play, I mean, the worst thing that happened on that play was Kane colliding with McDavid. And then the whole team just sort of froze. And it was it was poor, but there were extenuating circumstances. But boy, oh boy, it was Philadelphia sure made him pay in a quick hurry.
I'm sure the enemies of Evan Bouchard, who are out there, are having a fine time of it tonight, because he did not have a good game. All right, what's your second bad thing, Bruce?
Well, I'm going to take the 3-1 goal then, and that was the Oilers did have a little surge in the middle part of the second period, and they scored to make it 2-1. Then they earned another power play, and you think, Jesus, this is pretty good. They came close but didn't score on the first power play. They killed a penalty, then they came back and they scored at even strength. Now they got a power play again, and the power play was atrocious. Twice they gave up odd man rushes. Where the first one, there was 4 Oilers behind the goal line. Somehow none of them came away with the puck, and Philly did, and it was kind of a scrambled odd man rush that I'm not sure they wound up getting a great shot out of it, but it was Oilers chasing, and then maybe 30 seconds later they were trying to set up again, and again they lost the puck battle and had Philly coming down the ice on what looked like an odd man rush, and it was, in the end, it was more of a 2-on-2, because one of the Oilers skated back to even the scales, but it was never the D-man Bouchard. Like, he had to kind of cheat into the middle because he wasn't sure it was a 2-on-1, and before he got over to his man shot the puck. And all that said, shouldn't have been that dangerous of a shot, but somehow it beat Jack Campbell clean, high on the short side. And that was the moment that I think Edmonton literally fell out of this game. It was like a backbreaker, and they couldn't handle it. And I got this, wake up, boys. There's going to be other times where adversity calls, and you better be prepared to take it on, because so far you've played 4 teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, and you've got 1 game that you won and 3 that you lost in regulation.
Yeah, that moment was Campbelltrons, just like we saw too often last year. But you know what? I really, on that play, Bruce, I really didn't like Nugent Hopkins' back check.
Mm-hmm.
If he just came back, if he just made a better decision, first of all, in the O-zone, like to defend, as opposed to, like there's 3 Flyers breaking out, and he's going, just go back, get back and defend, and then hustle as hard as you can until you're on the right side of your man. And then Evan Bouchard isn't confused. Then maybe he gets a stick on that. If Nuge just made the right decision and then put in the right effort at the right moment. And it was, again, part of the general malaise of the team just not being sharp.
McDavid was trying to pass it to Nuge, so Nuge was kind of wrong-footed in that he thought they were attacking, and McDavid coughed it up with his pass back, and then they were scrambling, and nobody really scrambled to good position.
They didn't know what. So we're done with our bad things. We will move on to our good things, Bruce. Do you have one?
Good things. You go first again, David, if you don't mind.
Okay. I will. The best player of the game for the Oilers, I thought, was Cody Ceci.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a culprit on any goals against.
No.
He made a couple of nice plays in the defensive end that ended up as grade A shots at the other end. And on the Oilers' goal, he started it off by winning the puck in the neutral zone, and he was integral in finishing it off. He made a nice pass to McDavid in the offensive zone, and then he went to the slot. And as the puck came through, it looks like he might have tipped it a little bit. He was screening the goalie at least. And then it went to Hyman, who put it in. Solid defensive game, some good offensive moments. So we hope to see more of that from Cody Ceci. I have actually been seeing him fairly good early in the year. I mean, he is, again, like I'm talking about a slow team. Well, he would be part of that issue, in that he's not a fast skater. Nonetheless, he's fast enough to be effective, and he was that tonight. You're a good thing, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Dylan Holloway, who played 12 minutes and 17 seconds tonight, and he was a -1, but a very kind of unfair one where on the first goal when Kulak made this sort of not good strong pass up to Fogel at the neutral zone at the boards on the center red line, and Fogel
Yeah.
lost that battle, and then he just went off. Which I mean, the puck had already gone away, so Holloway hopped over the boards, and 2 seconds later it was in the net, kind of thing. So I certainly don't hold that against him. I do see he had one shot on net, one that just missed the net that you talked about already, 2 hits, one block shot, and I do believe he was the only Oiler to put a crooked number in all three of those columns, because that apparently was a lot to ask on this particular night. And I thought he skated well, and he also had, presumably this is one of the hits he was credited with, the hit of the night, where he gave a reverse hit at the Edmonton blue line. Some flyer came in to hit Holloway while he was handling the puck, and Dylan just ran over the guy. And that was a rare sight on a night that the Oilers did not have a lot of physical pushback, or really pushback of any kind.
Yeah, he seems to be making good decisions out there with the puck. He's playing more like a veteran, and I honestly think he should be in the top 6 at this point. I guess I don't like, who would they move out? Well, they move out Kane, Evander Kane. And so that segues, Bruce, to my number, which is 32. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it is with power forwards, but 32 is kind of a magic number, I'm afraid to say, kind of magically, black magic number, magically bad, in that you see, it's rare to see, power forwards excel in the NHL after they hit 32, 33, 34. Like, it's just, they start falling off at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. It's almost always due to injury. We saw this with Milan Lucic when he was, I think, 28 or 29. His game just dropped off a cliff, and he was not the same. Mm-hmm. I brought this up in an earlier podcast. I think the first podcast of the year, after seeing the first in game one, and I'm bringing it up, his age right now again, because and I want to make clear that I see the effort. The effort is there.
Yeah,
I see a player who is fierce and determined, and he may just be fierce and determined enough to fight his way back. But since that horrible wrist injury, the deftness with his hands, he had great hands, in tight and making passing plays. We're not seeing that. We haven't seen it regularly. We've seen it now and then. But my concern is growing. And I think what they need to do is to think, okay, what can he do? And I could see him as a third-line energy player at this point, and use him as that. And if he can work his way up from that, go with that. But Kane in the top 6 right now makes no sense. He's not getting it done. He is not close to getting it done. And it's time to go with someone else right now. And so that's my take on it, Bruce. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Kane's been struggling mightily. I mean, through 4 games now, they've updated that natural stat trick. And the Oilers have had he's played basically an hour, one full game on the ice. The Oilers have been outshot 38-24 in that hour, and outscored 6-1. 6-1. It's high dangers are 16-8 for the other guys. It's not pretty. Expected goals for McCain 34%. Like, that's like based on how the flow of play has gone. You would expect the other guys to score 2 for every one the Oilers got. Like, it's been poor, and the actual results have been worse than that. So it's scary. And here's the funny thing, David. Here's my number from tonight, and it's Evander Kane stat line. And actually, if you looked at this in isolation, you'd say, well, this is one Oiler who came out and gave it a good, strong effort, which you said already, and which I agree with. But just not in sync. He led the Oilers with 5 shots on net, with 8 shot attempts. He led them with 5 hits on a night when nobody else had more than 2. And he also led with 2 takeaways on the night that no one else had more than 0. So to recap, out of the 23 Oilers shots, Evander Kane had 5. Out of the 16 measly Oilers hits, Evander Kane had 5. And out of the 2 Oilers takeaways, Evander Kane had both. So
wow.
At least he was trying.
Yeah, he was
doing
trying
stuff. He was, he's putting up crooked numbers. And one of the things I look for in power forwards is this range of crooked numbers in these various columns. Hits, takeaways, shot attempts, sort of not going out there and being invisible, which he wasn't. But I agree with you. He looked slow. He looked clumsy. He had 2 or 3 collisions. There's one time I sent you a message in our scoring chance thing saying that Kane and McDavid should be separated for their mutual safety, because Kane ran into McDavid, and then a few minutes later, I think McDavid ran into Kane. Anyway, so his numbers say he gave a good effort, but I'm saying these numbers don't capture the whole picture near as much as what happened when he was out there, which the Oilers tonight were outshot 11-6. They were outscored 1-0. And a lot of this time he's spending with McDavid.
Yeah.
Since he came back from his injury last year, he's played 300 minutes with McDavid, so 5 hours playing with best player in the world. And in that time, the Oilers have scored 10 goals and allowed 20. So it's like losing 5 straight games by a score of 4-2 when you have Connor McDavid on the ice for the whole game.
Yeah.
And that is, whoa, you just can't have that. So if there's something wrong with the guy and he can't do that anymore, then stop trying to have him do that. Maybe have him try and do something else. And
page.
Work his way back on the, from a little bit down the lineup. You got to give him chances, but boy, oh boy, they've been giving him chances and it hasn't been going well.
It has not. It took them forever to adjust when Lucic game dropped off. It took it like a season and a half almost before they took him off the power play. It strikes me. Yeah. Kane's not on the power play. Second, they put Hyman on that line with David. They scored. Now you can't have all your good players on one line, but they do have Holloway, and they do have McLeod. Like, they have other options they can move into the top 6.
Yeah.
They got Raphael Lavoie down on the farm, another young winger who can slot in if they need some life in the lineup instead of Adam Erne, another kind of slower power forward guy.
I saw him real slow tonight, Erne.
Yeah, and he was not good with the puck either.
He was a step behind.
Yeah, he's not succeeding. And this is, anyway, for now, I just think move Kane to the third line, ask him to be a checker and a hitter and an energy player, and let him get your game in order, man. Just take a few weeks, 3 weeks, figure it out, and we'll go from there. First sign that you're ready to start making plays, you'll move right back up again. But for now, we need to win, and you need to help us win, and that's how you can do it. So that's how I see it.
Here's my bonus number tonight: 20 shot blocks for Philly and 6 for Edmonton. On a night
I was
going
to say the same one.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I gave my number already, 32.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, okay. 32. Yeah. 20-6. Both teams had, Edmonton had slightly more shots, but it was almost even. Shot attempts Edmonton had. But when it came to actual shots on net, they had 23-33. Because Philly was blocking Edmonton's shots, whereas Edmonton was not only not blocking Philly's shots, they often were not even particularly close to the shooter breakaways. And so on. And Jack Campbell, for all he let in a really stinker goal down the stretch of the third period, he was the only reason this one didn't get up in 5-6-1 like the first game. And
Yeah. I
so
gave him
two
a
stinkers
4.
in 4 games.
Yeah.
That's
I gave him a 4 this game
mm-hmm.
because of the stinker goal at a key moment.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he
no,
wasn't.
that was a killer.
He was, but he wasn't poor or terrible. Like
No,
he
he was
below
mostly
average. You
okay.
can't let in a stinker.
Yeah,
Bruce,
well.
tonight's conundrum.
Mm-hmm.
Conundrum of the night. What are you going to do with the D-man rotation? You have Philip Broberg, who
Mm-hmm.
played okay. I think playing as well as Brett Kulak, for instance, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
You have Vincent Darharnay. You've got Cody Ceci, and you've got Nurse Bouchard and Ekholm. They're I think the top three.
Right.
But you have a number of other defensemen, 4 defensemen for 3 slots. How would
Yep.
you handle that conundrum? What would you do?
Yeah. Next game, I would send Adam Rooney to the press box, and I would go 11-7. Would be the
Yeah.
first approach.
Okay.
Then you still have to figure out how you're deploying those 7. But it would have been a nice option to have Philip Broberg on the bench tonight. That in a game where the Oilers look slow and were getting outskated, they would have had that option to put him out there. And actually, I thought DeHarney had a pretty good game. He won a lot of puck battles on the end boards and stuff, and he did get beat on the first goal, but it was hardly his mistake. He was, last line of defense, and the guy made a good pass that he tried to cut out but couldn't. But I thought he was okay, but speed is not his game, obviously. And so what the 11-7 does, it gives you way more options, both up front and on the blue line, in terms of different ways to combine your players. Maybe gets the coaches a bit more involved in the game too. Not sure how on top of this one they were, to be honest, but
I like your solution to the conundrum. I think that's probably the short-term answer. I do think if there's going to be a rotation, though, it should be bigger than DeHarnay and Broberg.
yeah.
It should include Kulak and Ceci.
Kulak had a really tough game tonight, man.
Yeah,
he kept coughing up the puck.
He's not been sharp. And he's been the weakest defenseman, I think, so far. I just think I would, if you're going to do a rotation with 6 guys, I would include Ceci and Kulak in it.
Rotate the whole third pairing, eh?
Yeah, and I would down this season, if there's a move to be made, you're going to have to clear out some cap space. And I see, and it might be to bring in another superior defenseman. But I think the play is to move one of Kulak or Ceci this year, and either make room for Broberg if he deserves it, if he shows that he deserves it, still not known, or if you're going to be trading for a superior defenseman, if that's the biggest need on your team this year, as it was last year, then you do that. I still think in this whole thing about being slow, I think Broberg is a big part of the solution this year if they can get that guy going, because he is the fastest skating Oilers defenseman, and so I'm not keen on seeing him out of the lineup too much, and I do think you're going to need to. Anyway, we'll see how that goes, but a trade could be part of the solution of that conundrum as well down the road.
Yeah, for now they need to find a short-term solution that involves using the guys that they've got here. Or maybe they go off of tonight's game and pick up one of those guys on waivers tomorrow morning and decide to shake things up a little bit that way. Because I will say Adam Rooney's job is hardly secure.
Who's on waivers right now?
Zach McEwen is just a tough guy.
Yeah, I know him.
I think he's got roots in these parts. And the other guy was Jansen Harkins, who's already been waived by Winnipeg and picked up by whoever waived him today. They gave him a look and then they cut him loose. So I'm not sure that one works. I'm not sure either of them works for me, but there are options out there. And one way you can get a free player is pick one off of waivers, as long as he's not, he's not carrying a big cap hit, then obviously you can't do anything. But there's that 21st man on the roster for now with Adam Ernie, but they could easily put him on waivers to make room for the guy that they're picking up, right?
They'll have some patience with Adam Erne, is what they'll do.
Probably,
but what I've seen so far from Adam Erne is Alex Chason without the shot or the penalty killing ability. So he's not exactly impressing, Bruce. Listen, I'll have some patience too with him. Like, let's see 3 or 4 more games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I'm not feeling it, dog. And I wonder how that's going to turn out for the Oilers. Anyway, there's lots of, as you say, there's a number of solutions there.
Yeah.
Well, there's the waiver wire, and then there's also Raphael Lavoie.
Yeah. Well, the 11-7 is Jay Woodcroft's secret sauce.
Yeah. It's time for the secret sauce.
Yeah, it's that's the wild card lineup, and the other team's got no idea what they're going to do. And I suspect the coaches themselves even sort of have a vague idea of this, then that, but they can sort of roll with the dynamics within the game, and just have more options at their disposal. So
yeah, be nice to see. I think that is the right idea. All right, Bruce, Winnipeg on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Now we start seeing the playoff teams.
Good stuff. It's going to get better from here on in, no doubt. Bruce, thanks for talking tonight.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.